Estonia's armed forces have received a new mission from NATO. They are to prepare for a possible military conflict between NATO and Russia, on whose territory they are then to attack targets, according to an Estonian general. Estonia is increasingly preparing for a NATO war against Russia, which it would fight with greater integration into the alliance. This emerges from an interview given by Estonian General Vahur Karus, who heads the country's combined military staffs, to the Estonian National Radio and Television Corporation, or ERR. This trend is evident in two aspects in particular. On the one hand, previously the task of the Estonian armed forces was limited solely to holding out as long as possible in the event of a feared Russian invasion. Realistically, they assumed about 10 days, according to the ERR journalist and his interlocutor. From then on, troops and military equipment from NATO allies would arrive on Estonian soil and take over. In contrast, according to Vahur Karus, Estonia can now count on the immediate participation of the Allied contingents stationed in Estonia in any battles. The general said, "Today the situation is such that all Allied troops here are integrated into our military planning. We know what resources they would contribute and what tasks they would have." On the other hand, Estonian territory is set to play an increasingly important role in NATO's plans to attack targets in Russia's interior. It is clear that we would have to take on all the burdens that Italian, Spanish, German or French politicians would find hard to explain to their peoples. For example, dead soldiers. In other words, the close combat falls to us, but we are also moving towards inflicting deep blows on the enemy. In doing so, we have an easier time asking our allies for capabilities that our own budget simply does not allow. We cannot simply wait for someone to hit us with a sledgehammer and must be able to do certain things first. We are now being given the means and capabilities to operate more effectively, including attacks deep behind enemy lines. Our ability to strike deep behind enemy lines is fully integrated into NATO's planning, and NATO tells us to serve certain targets, after which NATO forces come and take the next steps. Land blockade of Kaliningrad by Lithuania. Estonia demands NATO security guarantees. Land blockade of Kaliningrad by Lithuania. Estonia demands NATO security guarantees. It is not entirely clear whether the means and capacities also include the Estonian special forces that would penetrate Russia's territory and strike against the specific targets. Light infantry that is supposed to carry out such tasks today requires very good training and special technical equipment, both of which are very expensive. However, it certainly also includes guided missiles with battlefield range and beyond, weapon systems that Estonia has been increasingly acquiring for some time, whether by purchase or by transfer. These include the US-made HIMARS multiple rocket launchers, which fire satellite-guided missiles from the GMLRS and ERGMLRS series or the GLSDB series, as well as battlefield missiles from the ATACMS series and others. Also included are the Israeli-Singaporean-made Blue Spear anti-ship missiles, which can also attack land targets, RTD reported. Karus did not specify in detail which targets the Estonian military could serve in one way or another in an emergency. However, the interlocutors also discussed the possibility of destroying Russia's deterrent capabilities in the form of its nuclear arsenal with non-nuclear weapons. The example of the Six-Day War, which Israel started in 1967, was also taken up in this discussion. At that time, it attacked its neighbor Egypt preventively. General Karus said, "The Six-Day War was a masterful operation, but you have to take enough resources and capacities from the enemy so that he cannot